Week at 222 with the ISO headquarters. It's 8:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the East Coast of the United States of America on this snowy. We just had a snowstorm today, and yesterday, I should say, into today, we got about 6 inches. Underachieved by about 50%, but hey, it is what it is. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We're just went over 700 subscribers here on the ISO headquarters. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So, broadcast positioning in the route to the ISO 20022 native. So, if you're new to the channel, what we do is we cover all current ISO 20022 news, implementation, and such. So, now that there is an increase in the types and amount of data up for grabs to remain viable competitors in this age of digital transformation, financial institutions must revise how they obtain, retain, and aim to use financial data, while also ensuring that, oh, wait a minute. Well, we can read this top part too. This is one webinar and a series of 2 events hosted by Finextra Research and Bottom Line Technologies on preparing for the ISO 20022 2022 deadline and maximizing on the full functionality across your entire ecosystem, from real-time domestic and cross-border to fraud protection to cash positioning. So we've got that, and then we've got financial institutions must revise how they obtain, retain, and aim to use financial data, while also ensuring that it is not soiled and APIs are being leveraged. With modern technology, reinforcing the accurate accretion, filtering and sharing of data at scale and at low cost as the quality of data improves, technologies such as AI and ML, which require large data sets, are better situated to utilize data analytics to enhance compliance with payment standards and improve fraud monitoring and management of ISO 20022, to which connectivity will become mandatory in November 2022, has the potential to take banking digital transformation to the next level, with the ability to deliver much more detailed data. Issues with misinterpretation are reduced. This reduces transaction cost, optimizes business cycle cash flow, improves intraday liquidity management with real-time views of payments, and enhances cash position visibility. With the testing window for ISO 20022 connectivity having concluded in February 2022, what more must banks do to ensure they are market ready for the mandatory deadline for receiving and processing ISO messages in November of this year? Financial institutions must also question whether connectivity is enough. Should banks leverage the full potential of ISO 20022 to transform their long-term strategy and scale up to become ISO 20022 native? Satisfying the minimum compliance requirements is no longer enough. So you can join the webinar from FinTech Research in association with Bottom Line Technologies to hear industry experts discuss the following points and more. So we might click into this. ISO 20022 testing to meet the SWIFT and market infrastructure deadline in November 2022. How can banks ensure they maximize on their investment to move toward becoming a digitally first institution? How can financial institutions build on being ISO 20022 native to improve payments across your whole ecosystem for fraud, cash positioning, and digital overlays? If institutions are connectivity or market ready, what are the next steps and timelines that should be considered to become ISO native? The benefits of coordinated strategy leverages API to ensure slips with institutions are a thing of the past. So let's see if it lets us okay, so let's read. We're gonna read yeah, I like this. So we're going to continue reading, guys. I think we're going to continue. So, real-time payments. So we already read the part, so let's continue. Banks that continue to operate on siloed infrastructure must make use of modern technology to manage the complexity of corporate payment requirements. So, to manage complexity of corporate payment requirements across markets and market infrastructure. However, despite the mushrooming of developing across real-time domestic and cross-border payments, financial institutions still rely on convoluted correspondent banking partnerships to advise on the cost and location of a particular payment. This could all change in November 2022 when banks will be mandated to transition to ISO 20022 to remedy issues with infrastructure compliance and customer experience. This will in turn provide an interoperable standard for financial data exchange and at the same time streamline payments and reconciliation. Further, the growing number of real-time payment schemes citing ISO 20022 as their standard has already prompted a larger number of financial institutions to re-engineer their systems to connect with each other, improving efficiency for cross-border payments and paving the way for enhanced real-time domestic networks. With the testing window for ISO 20022 connectivity having concluded in February 2022, what more must banks do to ensure they are market ready for the mandatory deadline for receiving and processing ISO messages in November of this year? Financial institutions must also question whether connected. So we already read this. So here's the points on the webinar, and then here's the speakers that also are speaking. So yeah, see, we only can get we're only going to be able to get, that's the two parts of this, but if you want to see more, we would have to see the webinar, which is on Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. So if you want to watch the webinar, you can always see further into this, but that's what's going on with real-time payments and what's to come, connecting to the ISO 20022 in February, and then also by the end of February, but also in November of 2022 when we have to be switched online.